Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about. Let's talk about. Yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Happy Monday. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. We are running a little bit late tonight, but it's okay. I wanted to come on here and let you all know that we are here, having just a little bit of technical difficulty, but hopefully we have worked through our issues. So I want to thank you for joining us. Conversations with Nicole is a talk show focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Mindset Monday. Mindset Monday is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about whatever it is we want to chat about. And today we are talking about maximizing your physical health for success. Maximizing your physical health for success. And so my guest is no stranger to Conversations with Nicole. She actually is a returning guest, Miss Natasha Lamb, who is based in Jacksonville, Florida, the Jacksonville area. And so we are excited and delighted that she is joining us here tonight. So before I introduce her, I want to hear from you. This is a safe space for us to express ourselves with one another. And so we want to hear from you. Let us know where you are tuning in from. I see a few of you are in here already. Thank you so much, Cousin Denise in Texas. Thanks for being here. The Chief is with us. Long time no see, Chief. Thank you for joining us tonight right here in Tally Ho. Miss Tracy Golay, a great supporter of CWN. Thank you for being here also in Tally as well. So, y'all, today has been a great day. Kicked off mid-week today, which is the Minority Enterprise and Development Week. Our local area is celebrating 30 years. And so the honorees for this year's mid-week are former city manager Anita Favors, Jay Morrell, owner of Early's Kitchen, and I cannot remember the last woman's name. She's the woman minority honoree. And so they had an opening reception tonight, which was very lovely, in the new FSU Student Union. And so Daryl Jones, the Honorable Daryl Jones, was presiding. And so it was just a delightful night tonight. So they will have a host of activities this week, and then on Friday culminate with a gala. But Working Class Wednesday, which I'm a part of, will be co-hosting with the Office of Economic Vitality on Wednesday at Lincoln Community Center, an open house. So minority business owners can come and find out about all of the resources that are available in the area for women and minority-owned businesses. So if you are in Tallahassee area, I invite you to check that out. We'll be at, again, the Lincoln Center on Brevard Street from 6 to 8 p.m. In the gymnasium. So we invite you all to join us. All right. So I see a few more folks here. Thank you for being on here. I believe this is my good buddy Frankel and Angela. Thank you for being here in Tallahassee, and Miss Jeanette in Miami Gardens. Long time no see, Miss Jeanette. Thank you for joining us. All right, so my guest, Miss Natasha Lamb, she received her Bachelor's of Arts degree in psychology from the University of North Florida, minoring in criminal justice. Natasha then went on to earn her Master's of Social Work degree from the University of Southern California with a concentration in children and families. And she began Perspectives Counseling of Northeast Florida in 2021 to serve adults with mental health and substance abuse challenges. She began Calm Cues, which we talked about the last time she visited us, in June of this year to expand her reach to supporting employees, employers, teachers, and students by providing techniques to de escalate crisis situations and improve mental health on the job and at school. So, help me welcome Miss Natasha Lamb.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Happy
Good
Monday.
evening. Happy Monday. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me. Nice to see
Right. Indeed, indeed. My pleasure. So, for those who weren't here the last time you were on, tell the people, who is Natasha Lamb?
Well, I am a licensed clinical social worker who loves to serve the clients that I work with, whether it's individuals in need of mental health or substance abuse counseling, as well as corporate clients. You mentioned Calm Cues LLC, and we focus in that organization on creating an emotionally, mentally, and physically safe space for all employees and leaders and organizations, and for students and teachers and professors in colleges and schools in the area.
Yes, lovely, lovely, lovely. And y'all, if y'all missed that show, you definitely want to check that out because we talked about de escalating in crisis situations. And so Natasha has some really neat techniques to help folks, in a crisis, whether that's like an active shooter type situation or just somebody just having a really bad day, to help, folks get through. So, thank you for the work that you do in that space. That's very important work.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It'll be a better place if we all take care of one another.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. So for my HR people out there, y'all definitely want to check out Natasha and Calm Cues, because again, the tips, the techniques, the curriculum that she has is something that could be used with employers, with their employees, also in the work in the school education space as well, and I think also with law enforcement. So it can be used across many sectors.
It really could. It really could. Wherever there's people.
Right, wherever there's people, because people be people, and don't they?
For sure, for sure.
I say that all the time. People be people, and
That's a good way to put it.
yes, 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 yes. So, since I have a clinician on here, even though this is a safe space, and we definitely do want you all to communicate with us, but I do have to read my disclaimer, which states that all topics, past, present, and future, on Conversations with Nicole are for informational purposes only. They are not to be used as a diagnosis for treatment or an answer to any personal issues related to the topic being discussed before, during, or after the program. All right. So, a little bit about you that folks don't know. You have had a struggle with your weight.
I absolutely have. And what's interesting is that I didn't know it was a problem until it was a problem. Uh,
Mm,
and what I mean by that is that as my weight was going up, which was in my late teens, early 20s, I was
mm-hmm,
I'm just still growing is what I was thinking. So I was in the mindset of, as a teenager, you're continuing to grow, you keep sizing up. But for some reason, that transition did not happen once I was an adult. That, okay,
mm,
growing, this is not that type of growth. This is gaining additional weight. And it wasn't until I was one size away from maxing out, in the store that I shopped at the time, that I had a genuine worry of, where am I going to get my clothes?
oh,
And
wow.
that this is before the internet was, you could just go online and just, Google search for whatever size you needed.
Mm-hmm.
Google was even in existence yet. So a little bit. So yeah, so that is what essentially scared me into you got to do something.
Hmm. So, so you're painting a picture of, you were approaching a crisis from the standpoint of if you gain any more weight, you're not going to be able to shop at this particular store to get your clothes, right?
Right.
So,
And then also the doctor was getting ready to put me on high blood pressure medication. And I mean, I was
mm,
20 or 21 at the time. So,
mhm,
very young. And, my dad had high blood pressure, but, he was significantly older. He was my
mhm,
dad.
mhm,
So
mhm,
it's not like it was, a lot of times, and I know we'll get into it, people get stuck in the mindset that if it runs in my family, then okay, if I get it, it runs in the family, but you
mhm.
still have steps that you can take to mitigate as much as possible getting some of these predisposed diagnoses that we are conditioned to think that because it runs in our family, then we're going to have the same struggle with it.
Right. So tell me at your, if you don't mind sharing, at your highest weight, what were you?
260 pounds and a size
Mm. And how tall are you?
5'6".
Okay.
Yes. So it was a very staggering number. It was a sombering one for sure. And
Mm-hmm.
at that time, I just remember not knowing what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? I didn't have any mentors like in my family, or I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have friends that were in the lifestyle of being healthier or doing healthier things. And so it was difficult because I was on my own. I had to figure this out, which can be one of the hardest things. And oftentimes, what deters people from getting started is just not knowing what to do or how to do it. But I knew I had to do something. And, another unfortunate aspect is I remember having the coldest doctor. And he's
Mm.
like, if you go to the freezer section and you look for the healthy choice meals, that'll have the portion sizes that you're supposed to eat. And I mean, it
Mm.
was most like heartless thing that you can say to this young adult starting out in the world trying to find her way that knows there's a problem but doesn't really necessarily know how to fix it. So really no guidance.
Wow. 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 So what were you thinking at this point after going to the doctor and basically saying, Weight Watchers or Healthy Choice or whatever is in the freezer section of the, of your local grocery store. This is what you should be doing.
Oh my goodness. I knew that wasn't the way. I knew the
Okay.
dinners was not the way. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
I also knew I was very limited, and what contributed to me gaining the amount of weight that I gained in the time that I gained it was not having any sense of cooking whatsoever. So I was
Mm.
eating a lot of fried foods, eating a lot of rice, going right to bed after I ate because at the time I worked a 6 to 2:30 shift, a 6 a.m. to 2:30 in the afternoon shift, and I would eat around 7:30 at night and be in bed about an hour later. And
Mm.
so I had no concept of the importance of watching what I was putting into my body and how much I was putting into my body. Uh,
Mhm.
and that combined with not being active certainly contributed to the problem. And then hearing the doctor's take, I knew that, it had to be some different choices that I made as far as my food went. And I
Mhm.
certainly had to find a way to start exercising.
Gotcha. 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 So, you know, that's again, it's a tough road to kind of travel down, especially if you don't have any mentors or anybody to encourage you in that vein. So, what I guess help me understand, like, kind of your mindset. Like, what do you feel like was the first kind of big step you took outside of going to the doctor and him giving you some, what he had to say. What do you feel like was like your first big step in terms of deciding, what it is you were going to do?
I knew that I needed to exercise, but I didn't have the knowledge of how to train. That term wasn't even in my vocabulary at the time. I just knew I needed to exercise and become more active.
Mm-hmm.
I made a commitment. I couldn't run at the time because I was too overweight. And so I would run. I'm sorry, I would walk. I would walk an hour in the mornings and walk an hour in the evenings. And then as far as food went, I cut out juices and sodas. So all like regular sodas, juices. I didn't drink any of those. I would have like your sparkling waters, the 0-calorie drinks. I would drink more water, and I cut my portion sizes. And at the time I would still eat out, but I would get like the kids meals. I would get a kid's meal like from McDonald's rather than, an extra value meal. And that was back in the phase of
Mm-hmm.
fries and supersized drinks.
Supersize everything.
Yeah. Right. So in the ways that I could, I made those adjustments. And, it would take some time before I got better at cooking and also becoming more educated on the scientific components of what helps with losing weight and what helps with building muscle. But at that time, that's all I knew to do. And it helped. I did start to lose weight. But there's some kids that are sprinkled in between this on my journey. And that's the important thing to understand also, is that the journey of becoming a healthier version of yourself is not always linear. So there's going to be life events that happens, whether it's having kids, whether there's some type of a medical condition that allows you to not train, or that something that comes up that might prevent you from executing the vision that you have as far as accomplishing your weight loss goals, is understanding life is still going to happen on that journey. So I did have some kids. I have 2 kids. But while I was on my journey, that kind of broke up. Okay, you're losing, get pregnant, gain some pregnancy weight, start.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I had these things happen in my life, it was always my journey was never abandoned. I always knew, okay, you got to get back on it. You have to keep going because you know where you were.
Gotcha. So, did you have a goal set for yourself in terms of what your ideal weight was?
My initial goal was to get under 200 pounds.
Okay. All right.
All time, that was going to be, I could celebrate. I can, not hang up, my training shoes, but that was for me the number that was going to let me know, like, okay, you really did it. You made it. You worked hard, you stayed consistent as much as you could throughout life's events. That was my you made it number.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay, and that's, I mean, but I think it's important to have a goal in mind, right?
Oh, yes. Those
Mhm,
goals are everything. I mean, as a therapist, a lot of times we talk about the use of SMART goal criteria. And the acronym for SMART is specific, measurable. Is your goal achievable? And is it reasonable? And is there a time frame on it?
mhm, mhm.
Whenever goals are set, that all of those criteria are incorporated into the goal, so that even though you have this big number in mind, it allows you to measure your progress on the way there, and that serves as a motivator for sure to help you keep going.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. All right, so I'm gonna try to draw our viewers in. Um, so we're talking about SMART goals, and so I know just across the board, folks from time to time struggle with weight gain, and just making that decision to make the first step, whether that's like you were saying, you recognize that you had to get moving, you had to exercise, you recognize that you needed to also change your eating. You went from not doing the supersize anymore to now doing the kids meal, and then also teaching yourself how to cook, right?
Yes, for sure. For sure.
So for our viewers out there, have any of you experienced some of what Natasha is talking about in terms of, you knew that your eating habits were such that it was contributing to you being larger than you wanted to be, overweight or what have you. And if so, what were some of the things that you did to overcome that issue? What were some of the things that you did to overcome that issue? If you don't mind sharing in the comments, again, this is a safe space, and we learn from one another. So in the comments, let us know what are some of the things that you did to overcome. What's like the first thing that you did in terms of making up your mind to make a change for the better. All right, let me pause. I see you, Jerry Smith. Thank you for being here. And Mr. Michael Love, thank you for being here as well. Appreciate you. All right. So, all right, you've talked about again some steps that you have made in that direction and that life was happening, right? You
Right.
had some other um things in terms of having children. So that of course is causing your weight to fluctuate, and now you're eating for two, right? And so you got to make sure that you take in enough nutrients and whatnot for the sake of the unborn child.
Right.
But sure, after you have the baby, then there's like baby fat, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
you're trying to work through all of that, right?
Right, right. And I mean, it's tough to stay motivated sometimes because it's like you regain what you lost. And so
Mhm.
it feels, you're climbing that mountain and you're climbing and you're climbing and you're so happy. I know I was happy with both my pregnancies, but then finding out, all right, these pounds I already lost, I got to lose them again. You know,
Mhm.
time serves as a deterrent. But if that goal and that commitment that I made to myself to reach that number was greater than the obstacle of having, if I lost it before, I could lose it again. So
Mhm. Mhm.
let the fact that I had gained that weight back be what caused me to go back into that slump. But I also reminded myself, well, no, you know what to do, you know how to do it. It's just getting right back on track and understanding that it's not going to be perfection. There's going to be good
Right.
days, going to be bad days along the way. But
Yes.
as that goal remains front and center, and you keep your eyes and your mind aligned on it and focused on it, you can absolutely overcome obstacles to get yourself to that goal and beyond.
Absolutely. Really quick, my mom is on. She's in Vermont right now, so thanks for tuning in, Ma. So my cousin Denise said she walks to get her weight down and change her way of eating. Mr. Jerry said he's trying to focus on plant-based foods. All right. And then Frankel said, I'm blessed to see a nutritionist when I was a teenager, and that was the first instance which helped with awareness of how to pay attention to nutritional health. Nice, nice, nice,
Very,
nice.
very nice.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So Marjorie is on. Hey, Marjorie, thanks for being here. Marjorie said, acknowledgement is always the first step. You feel that amount of weight on your body, and ultimately, it affected my health. I looked up eating right for blood type. Okay. I adjusted my diet under doctor's supervision, and walking 10,000 steps a day was a life changer. Wow. That's huge.
That is, oh my goodness.
Mhm.
It's
Commendable.
wonderful that you bring that up, Marjorie, about the blood type. And I mean, what's what's interesting about that is for individuals who go that route, understanding that what works for one person might not work for the next person. And so
Mm-hmm.
what causes sometimes when you see groups or you see pairs, all right, let's do the same thing and it's working for one person and not the other
Mm-hmm.
discouraged because I'm doing the same thing as you. I don't understand why it's not working. And that's when, things like blood type and how your body processes sugar and all of those elements plays a role into whether or not you're able to drop the weight or to build muscle and lose fat in the way that you aspire to do so. So that's a really good point.
That is a good point. So let me just ask you as it relates to that, because really, basically, what you're saying is it's very important that you know your body.
Yes, very. And I didn't
Mhm.
much later. I would say uh the first 13 to 14 years was all the understanding of deficit. Okay, if I work out and burn, this amount of calories and I consume, this many calories below, then I should lose weight. And that worked for a really long time, but then my body got conditioned to what I had been doing. So I couldn't walk. I couldn't just walk anymore. And I actually transitioned from walking, maybe about 4 years in, and I became an avid runner. I was running
Mm,
every
okay.
I was easily putting up 10, 12 miles. And that became for a while, my love and my passion was running. And
Mm,
um, it was an amazing journey. I still love to run, even though my body doesn't like it the same. So, meaning I can feel things a lot more when I run now.
right.
I used to run some years ago.
Okay.
Um, so the journey I've transitioned, so it's important to understand that where you start might not be where you finish. As you
Hmm.
start and you get going and you're open to discovering along the way some exercises or ways of exercising that might resonate with you better than others. So some people like to CrossFit train. Some people like just to go for runs and do cardio. Some people like doing like your aerobics and your step and your Zumba. There's so many different options out there. It's just important to understand and be open to the benefits of each of those different exercises, how they might work for you and cause you to accomplish your goals, as well as to achieve fitness goals such as running a half marathon or running a full marathon or doing like a Spartan run or a Spartan. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder my medals there from my
Mm, wow.
it's just finding what keeps you in the game, what keeps you engaged. Like when you think about a class and our book you're reading, what's more likely to keep you interested and keep you turning the page? It's the same way at exercise, finding your thing or your things that you enjoy.
Okay. No, all of those are really great points. So I just wanted to, again, just kind of hone in on the importance of knowing your body. And so,
Yeah,
as a 20-year-old, you may not have known your body in terms of how your body would react to the change in diet, the portion size reduction, to you actually getting physically active. But maybe you track that, right? As a
yeah,
result of, if I change my my way of eating, so if I change to salads and smoothies this week, let me like take note of how my body is feeling as a result of this change that I've taken.
right. And that's one of the most important pieces is tracking.
Mhm.
So I went once I shifted, and so I'll answer your question, but I want you to understand what caused me to start to track. So as
Okay.
I said, and walking a while, things kind of leveled off, started running for a really long time. And then due to injury, I was not able to run anymore with my IT bands. I messed up my IT bands from running so frequently and not allowing my body to recover. So I couldn't run, and I had to transition to doing like aerobics and step classes and Zumba. And at that point, I liked how I liked that I was losing weight, but I didn't like how I looked. So I
Mm.
was what people would call skinny fat. So I had lost weight, but I had a lot of loose skin. Uh,
Mhm.
and I just did not like how I looked. And I knew I wanted to weight train, but I had never crossed into those boundaries. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to put a workout together. I didn't know how to train essentially. But I knew I had reached another point where it's okay. You have to figure out what needs to change as far as food intake, and how does the changes with food help with seeing the results and the changes in my body. So
Mhm.
that's where tracking came in. And I started with my Fitness Pal, which is a free app that allows you to go in, you put in what's called your macronutrients. So your macros are basically the breakdown of protein, fats, and carbohydrates that you consume on a daily basis. And depending on what your fitness goals are, will dictate what your caloric intake should be and how much of your calories should be pulled from proteins, from fats, and from carbohydrates. And based on your tracking, you can see, all right, if I'm eating this amount of carbs, this amount of protein, and this amount of fat, okay, my weight is doing what I wanted to do. I'm putting on muscle. That's great. If nothing is happening, then that lets you know, okay, I need to make some adjustments. And
Okay.
tracking is critical because it does help you to see also, based on what kinds of foods you consume, how does your body respond to the processing of that. So for instance, I learned through daily tracking, with the scale, with my Fitness Pal, that my body does not like beef. I would have never, if I was not tracking and watching as closely, what my numbers were, how my body responded, how long it took my weight to basically settle back down after having beef, to know that, okay, if I'm going to have beef, it's best if I have it earlier in the day. And then also not a lot of beef. So I can't do multiple meals of beef. It can only
Mm.
be, right now, I'm only eating beef. That's my second meal of the day. So I'm eating it in the morning. But tracking is critical because it helps you to know what foods are for you and which ones you need to kind of back away from.
Okay. Wow. That's again, that's the whole knowing your body. So,
Yeah.
in stating that, I just want to hone in on that because it's going to take you really paying attention again to not only what you are consuming, but how you're resting.
Yeah.
Again, your movement in terms of any exercise, like, for you to say that you found out that your body, like, beef doesn't agree with you, like a whole lot of that. So how would you know that, right? Unless you were tracking in some way. So really quick, before we continue the conversation, I want to just do a little station break and say, for those of you who are just joining us, I am here with Natasha Lamb, and we are talking about maximizing your physical health for success. And so I don't know if you all saw a post that I did today with a before and after, a side by side, should I say, picture of Natasha, from what she was. I don't know, how old were you in the left side picture?
I was 20 or 21.
Okay, and then there's a picture of you in a bodybuilding stance, right? And so
Yeah.
that was what, like 5 years ago?
Was it the yellow or the blue
The
suit?
yellow.
The yellow was 5 years ago. Yes.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow.
And I never would have thought. I never set out to do any type of competition. I just wanted to lose weight and be able to buy my clothes from a store.
That is amazing, amazing, amazing. So yeah. So a couple of folks are chiming in. Let me also just read their comments real quick. Dee Dee said she became a pescatarian and it helped her drastically. Facebook user said reducing fried food overall and learning to saute and bake more dishes has helped. Learn to use herbs and other seasons to add flavor. Yep, that's another good one. Um, Susan, hey, she said, yes, I definitely know my body. I find CrossFit works best for me. Again, so finding the exercise that works best for you. The hardest part is staying motivated. And she also further added that Macros app is a great app as well. So there are some apps that can be used to help you in that fitness, that physical fitness journey, physical health journey. We got Miss Shantavia on. She said my type of topic, even though I don't do right. I'm gonna get right though. All right, we here to encourage you. We here to encourage you.
You got this.
All right, indeed, you got this. You got this. Very good. All right. My friend Rudy, he said, don't overeat and don't eat late. Yes, that late night eating, you about to lay down on all of that. It's not good. Not good. Not good.
Right.
Indeed. All right. Marjorie had a question. She said, for me, one key sign of foods that don't agree with my body is inflammation. What other signs should we look out for?
And that's certainly one of the main ones, but also
Mhm.
based on the consistency of your exercise routine and how you are tracking your workouts, because that's another important factor. And it's sometimes when I go to the gym and I see people working out, but there's a lot of resting in between each set. So
Mhm.
you gotta stay where you're timing your reps and your sets so that your body is not cooling down too much between your sets and you go for the next set. So really tracking your time and how many calories that you're burning. But for food that doesn't agree with you, is also monitoring your weight. So if you're solid, you're tracking all of that. You're not taking 3 to 5 minutes between each set. You are keeping up a good pace throughout your workouts. You're working out for a good amount of time, 30 to 45 minutes to an hour. You're consistent with those workouts and your weight is not budging. That's another good sign that there's something in your diet, which is why it's helpful when you are tracking your foods to be consistent in your foods as well. And as you're playing with what you're pulling from your diet, you'll know what it is that you don't necessarily agree with. So, yeah, certainly inflammation, bloating, for sure, weight. Your weight is not budging or moving, even though you know that you're doing all of the things. And there can be other underlying issues as a result, too, if you're pulling foods and manipulating foods and it still seems like no changes are happening. That's usually when it's best to go get the blood work done. So when somebody said, I know my blood type, I know what's best by my blood type, sometimes that's what leads to finding out what works best for your blood type. Is I've tried this on my own, I've done the deficit on my own, I've done these meats, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm just still not losing weight. And then that will help kind of hone in on exactly what you should be eating for your specific blood type.
Nice. All right. Good deal. So, someone said intermittent fasting and strength training are game changers for me. So I know a friend of mine that has done intermittent fasting for the past few months, and it has made a significant difference in their life.
Right. I mean, and it's so many different things that works. Intermittent fasting does work better for some. Keto works better for some. Everybody has their, and I honestly believe if you're making a lifestyle change, it has to work for you. It cannot be, I'm just doing this to lose the weight. I'm just doing this because I want to be, summertime fine for 2023. Like, it can't be that. It has to be this commitment and understanding that you know, for keto, if you, once you go into ketosis and you then have that one thing that throws your body out of ketosis, then it's like, that's really a feeling of having to start over. For me, that's my mindset when it comes to keto. And I work out very hard and I train very consistently. So if I decide, you know what, today I'm going to have me a half of a donut, I want to have that and not feel as if, oh my goodness, the past however long it took me to get into ketosis, I've blown it because I had this half a donut. So
Mm.
you what works for you. Maybe for you, I like the challenge. I like the challenge of, yeah, I can have this, but I can get it back. So it has to be something that allows you to still live your life, still have your celebrations and your vacations, and
Yes.
understand that being able to live your life is not throwing you off course where you feel that your motivation suffers and that you can't get back into it because you don't want to disappoint yourself by falling off the wagon again.
Yeah, yeah. You can't let that guilt overtake you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, for sure.
Indeed. So Panda said, "How any tips on how to keep our metabolism up as we get older? Recommended food, supplements, etc. In addition to exercise."
It's really going to be specific based on several factors in regards to your health. So I can't make those specific recommendations. If you meet with a trainer or a nutritionist, they can always give you what supplements would help depending on what your fitness goals are. And as far as metabolism goes, we know that it certainly slows down as we get older, and I'm crossing into those boundaries where I've
Mhm.
had challenges of I'm doing all of this work, why is my body changing in the way that I know, or no, in the way that I'm accustomed to my body responding to the things that I've done. And it's allowing room and understanding as we get older, we have to go about figuring out for this body at this age, at this point in our lives, what's different. Beef, finding out about beef for me was last in the last year. So I've gone almost my entire life thinking that I could eat whatever, as long as I'm portioning it out, and I now
Mhm.
over season it with sodium, that I'm fine. And it took me this long to figure that out. So,
Mhm.
one of the generalized things that I'll certainly say in regards to metabolism is being aware also of what foods that you're eating earlier in the day versus what foods you're eating at night. How many
Mhm.
times a day are you eating? And being very aware that, you're heavier, not bigger meals. But as I said earlier, I know that my body has a hard time with beef. But right now, for what I'm doing, I need it in my diet, but I can't
Mhm.
servings of. So if I'm going to have a serving of it, it's going to be in the morning so that my body has the entire day to break it down, um, to basically um, to be broken down, so I am able to reset the next day and not I'm carrying it for days. Because if I have it later in the day, it's like I'm carrying it for a couple days before things balance back out. So
Right.
just mindful of what you're eating, your level of activity, what types of activity that you're doing, whether it is your HIIT workouts, whether it's your strength training, because you are burning calories after the workout when you strength train,
Mhm.
versus cardio, you're only burning calories um, for the duration of the workout and immediately after. So kind of just taking all of those factors into account to know that are you maximizing every effort that you can to keep your metabolism burning and keeping it going.
Indeed, indeed. No, very, very meaningful points. Miss Portia said, "Hey, Miss Portia, happy belated birthday." She said, "We can't out exercise a bad diet. We have to eat properly for sure." So I think, yes, the eating properly piece, but also, as you have stated, and I don't think we think about this sometimes, the time of day that we're eating, what we're eating, again, the portions that we're eating, all of those are contributing factors. Are we eating, more fruits and vegetables in the morning, or, in the noontime, or in the evening? And what those things, the characteristics of those foods and drinks that we're eating, and the impact that they have on our bodies.
Right. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. Long term for sure. And that's very true. I never fall off from exercising. So that's like ingrained in me. But the diet is in seasons.
Yeah.
Times I'm like, okay, right now I don't want to. And I'm still mindful of what I'm eating, but it's not like just so regimented as when I'm preparing for a show because they're understanding like you have to, like, you know, having this is going to, you know, maybe slow down your progress on the goals that you have. But sometimes I need a mental break where it's, oh, you know, everywhere I go, like we're in competition season right now for my son and his band. And I'm packing my meals when I go. So I'm in the stands eating, you know, my chicken and my sweet potatoes while everybody else is having their, you know, fries and hot dogs and all the good stuff. But you're prepared. That's another piece I want to add. The
You got to be
importance
committed.
of being prepared.
Yeah.
Like a pitfall is, you know, when you don't meal prep, you don't have your foods ready. It's so easy to fall in the trap of fast food, convenience stores, and having more of the foods that you're not supposed to have. Versus, all right, you know, for the week, these are my goals. How can I be prepared? And making those meals so that you have them ready to go when you need to eat, and having them on hand, not at home in the refrigerator,
Right.
not in the refrigerator, but carrying them with you wherever you go.
Indeed. Indeed. So Marjorie said cravings tend to be worse at night. The struggle is eating right all day, salads, egg whites, etc., and then binge on lemon pepper wings at night. Shaking my head. Yes.
I
So
think
that
you're
is,
out, Marjorie. I'm a chicken wing and fry girl all day. I
yes.
love wings, but you know, to help with those cravings, is there a healthier version of that craving?
Right.
You know,
Right.
love I so you know, I'm more likely, not now, not right now. When I have to have it, I'm gonna have a skinny cow cream sandwich, or I'm gonna have the halo top. You know, I'm gonna have a small serving of that. So just finding whatever your craving is. And it's so funny because people, you know, who don't eat the healthier foods, they're like, this is disgusting. How can you eat this? In my mind, I'm like, it tastes fine.
Right.
And because over time, it just really, it's like, I don't know if my taste buds have changed, but I
They have.
really,
You gotta
I'm,
adjust them taste buds.
I'm
Adjust
sorry.
adjust those taste buds.
Yes, like, I mean, I'm just happy to have something in the neighborhood.
Right, right. So Angela is on and she asked, hey Angela, thank you for being here. She said, what about after a hysterectomy?
Can you go more into context? What after a hysterectomy? Diet, weight loss?
Yeah, so Angela, expound upon that a little more if you don't mind. My thought is, I guess in terms of the shift in your body, and how do you, maintain or how do you adjust after a hysterectomy? Here she said fat in the gut.
Okay, so fat in the gut really comes down to again, what exercise regimen and what are you consuming as far as food, and understanding that it is a process to cut body fat. So meaning that's, especially in the gut, is not something that you're going to see in a matter of a month or even 2 months. It's a arduous process, but one that can be attained based on how consistent are you with what you're consuming as far as your diet. And if that is the case, when you're cutting body fat, which includes fat in the gut, this is okay. That means your diet is low in fat. But for women, we can only go so low because we need
Mhm.
it for lubrication of our joints. We need it to keep hormones and balance in check. And this is when it's helpful to have a coach or to have a trainer or a nutritionist specifically work with you to make sure that your numbers are within a safe enough range to give your body what it needs, but also
Mhm.
allow you to still accomplish cutting fat specifically in your midsection. The other thing is that oftentimes people believe that you can specifically target an area and say, all right, For my arms, I want to lose fat in my arms, and that's typically not how it works. Our body pulls whatever it needs from wherever it needs to do whatever it is that it's trying to do. So my point in saying that is, while your goal might be your gut, if you stick the process out, you stay consistent with it and follow it long term, you're tracking and doing everything that a coach, trainer, or nutritionist would ask you to do, you will see those results, but it might come from other areas first.
Right. Yeah. I've definitely struggled with that in terms of wanting the slim, fit, trim stomach, but when you slim down all over.
Yeah, it being, coming from other areas. No, I want to keep that.
Right, exactly. The stuff,
Yeah,
things you want to keep, that goes too. So yeah.
it does. And that's like when the strength training is helpful, because that allows you to, build muscle, but it's muscle, and it's not going to be soft,
Right.
but be that firmness maybe that you're looking for. And you've got something there, because, I joked about pancake backside when I was running, when I was in my running phases. I ran it all.
Mhm.
So, so yeah, it's just something to think about. Body fat is very, it's a process. It takes a good amount of time to overall cut body fat for your body. And then your stomach is a different beast, because that's your water, that's your diet, that's your exercise, that's your ab specific exercises. And also understanding that, sometimes there's excess skin that's mistaken for fat in the midsection. And then
Indeed.
if I could just lose, but the skin is not going to go anywhere, unfortunately. That's going to be
Right.
there for what you do when, alternatives have to be considered.
For sure. So Angela followed up and said just her entire body is just different after the hysterectomy 3 years ago. She said, I think I'm just getting old. So no doubt you are getting older, Angela. But I think also too, just with that type of procedure, those organs shift around in there, right? And so there, maybe some other things going on. I'm not a physician, but I know that there's some movement that takes place when you take an organ out of these bodies, right?
Right. Right.
Mhm.
And I'm not an expert in that area either. Just knowing, okay, having the removal of this organ, then there's hormone changes that occur as a result of that.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's amazing how much hormones can work against you, which is why it's important, if you're following a consistent dietary regimen, if you are exercising consistently, you're challenging yourself in your workouts, where you feel challenged and you feel tired at the end and you're still not seeing those results. It's definitely worth it to see a doctor, to have your comprehensive panel run, so that they're able to identify, is there something underlying that's contributing to the challenges that you're having in either losing weight, or even if you're attempting to shift to building more muscle, whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Right, indeed. So Shantavi said chicken wings have her in a chokehold. Listen,
I'm there with you with the flat part of the chicken wing at that. Um,
listen.
that's the important thing. And what I was saying earlier about finding um, a program that works for you, and not doing
Mhm.
like these specialties, and I'm gonna do the Atkins diet, or I'm gonna just do keto. To each his own, I will say
Right.
that. But if you find that it is a struggle, then not the essential, I'm adjusting to these changes, because that's going to,
Mhm.
it's unfamiliar, it's new, it's not what you're accustomed to. It's more so I don't know if this is the right thing for me, because I
Right.
can't have my little cheat here, because if I do, I completely blow the process, and that's not good for my mental health.
Right.
Or if you find that you're not able to have any of the things that you enjoy, that on a bad day you can have that one thing and the next day or the next meal pick it right back up. And that's oftentimes the mindset that sometimes people fall into when they're on a journey is, oh, I've blown the day when I had this one thing, so
Mhm.
the rest of the day, or I'm going to eat bad the rest of the week. And it doesn't have to be that way. It could be the very next meal you get back on course. It could be
That's
the day you get back on course. But that one meal is not going to undo all the work that you've put in for the past week, 2 weeks, a month, or however long it's been that you've started your diet.
absolutely. So I think that above everything else, even though we are talking about our physical health, it all starts with mindset. It all starts with mindset.
It really does. And what you said earlier, and the irony is, I, made a post last week, and that was the caption at the end of the video was, it starts with a decision. Decide. So you have to decide for you, what is it that want to change? How are you going to get there? And setting reasonable expectations that, okay, it's not going to be by the end of October or by the end of this year, I'm going to lose 35 pounds. When if you do lose 35 pounds in that time frame, you might want to go see a doctor because that's not ideal. That's not a healthy way to lose weight.
Hmm.
Very cognizant of the goals and expectations that you set for yourself, and understanding it's a process. I mean, it is, whether you are competing or not, making a decision to lose weight starts with that decision. And then you think, what ways can I scale back? It doesn't have to be, if you've not been working out at all, that starting tomorrow you're working out for an hour to an hour and a half,
Yeah.
that's not reasonable, because you're not used to working out at all, and you haven't for a really long amount of time. So thinking, okay, am I going to start with 20 minutes? Okay, I'm going to start with 30 minutes. And if time isn't your factor, I'm going to walk my neighborhood one time by the end of this week, because that's a start. And then once you do it that one time, it's building upon that. And you then become motivated. Okay, I made it. I did it 3 times this week. All right,
Hmm.
walk around my neighborhood twice in one sitting, at least one time next week. And so your goals just grow from there. But if you start reasonable, it doesn't feel intimidating or overwhelming that you are starting this process. And the same applies to diet. Nobody said go in your kitchen and do a complete sweep of your refrigerator, a complete sweep of your pantry, where you're like, I can't afford to do that.
Right. Right.
It has to be, what changes can you make based on hopefully what you might have learned today, or where can I make changes and adjustments? All right, I'm not going to eat any heavy foods after what time? 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock? What do you consider a heavy food? And looking to see, okay, is this considered? Is having, chicken a heavy food? Most likely not. Fried chicken, that's different. But grilled or baked chicken, most likely not. And making those adjustments so you can start somewhere. The important thing is just to get started.
Absolutely. That is the important thing, is to just get started. Just get started. Well, this has been quite the conversation. Let me ask you, because we didn't get to this, but in that side by side picture, which was 5 years ago, the right side, what was your weight at that time?
It was 152.
Wow. So from 260 to 152.
Yes, to 152. And again, I did not have anything in mind about competing. I had not ever, I knew nothing about the sport. I never considered myself being eligible to get on the stage. But I had a friend at the time who wanted to do a show, and she's like, do it with me. And so it was a 3-week prep. not understanding that in the world of bodybuilding, prep is 16 weeks or more to get in
Ooh,
shape. And I did my cut in 3 weeks. So
wow.
I learned a lot in the process. And I'm actually working on preparing for a show in 2023, but I'm
Oh,
prepping now. So I'm cutting body fat now. I'm training and building now because it's if you want to be stage ready and you want to win, the further out you start, it's that much better where you're not having to, as you prepare and get closer to the show, having to do those longer cardio sessions.
right. Wow. Absolutely incredible. I mean, talk about putting your mind to something, setting a goal and achieving it. So that is really commendable.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Mhm.
that. I just
And so the other thing I want to mention is this is a lifestyle change, right?
It absolutely is. The competition, I wouldn't say as much, but I just like to challenge myself from time to time. So
Hmm.
um sometimes it's in the form of your obstacle course runs. So I've done about 3 or 4 Spartans. Sometimes it's running a half marathon. So for me, it's what's keeping me interested, what's keeping me not always going to be the same thing. So, I want to encourage that you find your thing because it still changes for me. It just comes down to, oh, I haven't done that in a while. So, you know what? I think I want to hit the stage again. So that's why I'm in this process now. But I'm always wanting to do something to keep me engaged because that helps me to stay in the gym. It helps me to stay mobile as I continue to get older and feel things in my body more.
Hmm. 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 For
That is
sure.
adjustment. That is a big adjustment.
That
But
is a big
just
adjustment.
yeah, you could be active at any age. You don't have to do races or obstacle course races or competing, but it's just finding that thing that you enjoy doing that challenges, keeps you engaged.
Hmm. Yes, Angela said when her mind is right, she wants to compete just one time.
That's amazing. You could
Just,
do it. I'm telling
just
you, if you got on that stage, you absolutely can do it. Because I had no clue. The poses, the shoes, the hair, none of it. But it's something that you can learn. And it's an
indeed.
us to see what your body goes to or goes through to get stage ready, and the fact that you remain engaged and disciplined the process to make it to that stage, that's the cherry on top.
That is the cherry on top for sure. So she says she wants to compete just one time just to say that she did it. And then she said, I like to eat too much.
You can still have to eat 5 or 6 times a day, so you still have to eat, so don't think you don't. And my mother-in-law says that all the time, you need to eat, you lose too much weight. And I'll be like, I am eating, I'm
Mm,
eating a lot.
right, 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 right.
So
So Shantavia said that's wonderful. Definitely goals. So if you all don't mind, before we close it out, let us know what are your goals? What are your physical goals? What are your physical goals in the comments? So Angela already started us off by saying she wants to compete in and what do you call these competitions again? Say it again.
a bodybuilding competition.
Bodybuilding competition. So, what are your goals? What's one of your physical fitness goals, your physical goals? Is it to, you know, build strength, lose weight, tone up, endurance? What are some of your goals? What are some of your goals? Let us know in the comments. Physical goals. Angela said cookies and cakes. That's her. I guess that's her weakness, right? She like to eat too much. Right.
I,
Okay. So Janetta's on here. She says she wants to lose 50 pounds. All right. And we are going to affirm with you that it shall be done, but you got to take that first step. So hopefully this live will encourage you in that vein. All right. Angela said, pose in a bikini and tone up for my 45th birthday. You can do it.
high five.
Yes.
Yes.
Goals. Love it. You can do it, Angela. You can do it. Leave them cookies and cakes alone. You can do it. All right. Dee Dee said tone up. Okay, Dee Dee, you can do that as well. But get a plan together and start working towards it.
Right. Do what you can. Think of
Mhm.
we know for the most part what our vices are. You know, like Angela, cookies and cake, my
Mhm.
chicken wings, fries, fried fish, and really cake, cookies, or donuts. So
Yeah.
it's not to say I still don't want them. It's not to say we still don't have them in the house, but it's just
Listen,
discipline. Like I just know,
it
okay,
is.
you know, some people can't have it in the house at all because they know they're gonna go
Mhm.
ham. But
Yeah.
I have my section or my little portion and be satisfied with that. Or
Yeah.
today I can't do it every day. You know,
For, for me, it's French fries and potato chips. And I went grocery shopping yesterday and they had them chips, buy one, get one free. Woo! Child. Because I
right?
can eat a whole big bag in one sitting.
Yes, they're so good. Oh my goodness.
Listen, I think Lay's put crack on
Yeah,
their chips. I'm just saying. I listen, I don't know. I can't control myself.
right.
Woo.
Because just knowing you absolutely can. Those
Mm,
portions are everything. And one thing I'm glad you brought that up. Pay attention to your serving sizes on your products that you buy. Like I can
mm.
remember back in the day, you know, for me, a serving of Oreos was a handful. So 5 or 6 Oreos to me was a serving, but no, only 2 Oreos
It's a
is
serving.
calories. That's a serving. So being
Man.
serving sizes on your bags and on your products to make sure, am I having what I think I'm having? And that's where measuring your food really comes into play of knowing how much am I putting on my plate.
That-
And
A
go ahead.
handful is a serving, ain't it? Oh, okay. Shoot,
I
I
wish,
thought it was.
I wish it was. That's a huge pitfall. Thinking or making up what we think is enough. And even freehanding when we make our plates for dinner, you know, this about how much I can eat. Don't go
Right.
eat. Go what is
A
it?
serving spoon size.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That's a really big one, guys. If you're not measuring your food, pay attention to those serving.
All right, we gonna get back on these goals. Focus, focus. Hold on. Other people have chimed in. Hold on. Cousin Denise said, "Tone up." Marjorie, not lose weight but reduce fat and build muscle, increase endurance. Excellent. All
Yes.
right. Jasmine Scott, healthy weight gaining and just falling in love with feeding and fueling my body. Love it. Thank you.
Yes.
Miss Boone said, stop eating after 8 p.m. Yes, love it. All right. Dee Dee said, timely conversation. Thank you, Dee Dee, for tuning in. Shantavi said, I want to lose 30 pounds and build endurance, quitting sugars and breads. Ooh, child. Mm,
And good one. There's sugar in every
everything. Everything.
so of that. Like I pay attention. Just read your labels. Learn
Mm-hmm.
your serving sizes, the fat content for a serving. Um,
Mm-hmm.
everything that says high protein because it'll have 15 grams of protein and then 30 grams of sugar
Mm-hmm.
and 36 grams of carbs. So it's not really as healthy as you think it is. So
Mm-hmm.
really, that's, quitting sugar. And you might be thinking just your sweets, your cakes, your cookies, all the lovely pastries, but
Yes.
bread, like we buy low sugar bread. Like, do you believe that? Low sugar bread? So there is a Nature's Own makes it, and it's good bread in my opinion. But I am conditioned at this point. Um, but it specifically says on the label low
No
sugar
sugar. Yep. Yep. Yep.
bread. The sugar
Yeah.
content is high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Angela said potatoes, period. Shantavia said, I'm seeing a nutritionist now, and I've been going to the gym 3 times a week at 5 a.m. All right.
That's awesome.
Yes. She further said, I just have to put these cookies down. And if you on here and go to the gym with me, mind your business.
Love it.
Oh, Janetta said Klondike ice cream bars are a BOGO. Someone please come and get them out of my freezer. Listen, I know the struggle is real. It's so real. Daryl Robertson, I'm trying to lose weight, but I'm really not just eating vegetables and fruits. Okay. It's okay. We all got goals. Frankel said my goal is to stay away from bad sugars for a year. Okay. That is truly a goal. Let's see. Denise said it's getting cold here in Texas, so I can't walk every morning. So I work out in the house. All right, good deal.
Awesome. Way to stay moving.
And Michael Love said, eat less, exercise more. Sounds easy, but it's difficult. But we are encouraging one another here
Got
tonight.
this. You got
Yes,
this.
you got it. You got it. You got
And
it.
eat less, making sure it's enough, because sometimes we can fall into the trap of, well, since I only ate once today or only ate twice today, I can go ham. And
Mhm,
that's not the way to go. So
mhm,
really spreading those meals out throughout the day, and then making sure, yes, that you've got a nice balance of carbohydrates, your healthy fats, your protein for sure,
mhm.
and just really starting to track what you're eating, and you can get there sooner than what you might think. It's all about consistency and tracking.
It's all about consistency and tracking. So, how can folks connect with you?
Oh my goodness, I'm on Facebook under my name, as you see listed here, Natasha Lamb. I am on LinkedIn, also listed the same. Uh,
Mhm,
Earlier in the broadcast, I am a therapist, but also I coach others. I'm a fitness enthusiast. I'm just so blessed and so happy to have had the journey that I had, because people think that, that'll never be me. I
mhm.
that sometimes our limiting beliefs get in the way of us maximizing our potential, and I'm just here to tell you, you absolutely can just make a decision to get started and let it be something that works for you.
Yeah.
And it not have to be so drastic and extreme as, I've got to clear everything out of my pantry and everything out of my refrigerator. What changes can you make based on your common pitfalls that get you every time, such as your sweets or your fast food?
Great advice. We do have scrolling at the bottom the website perspectives of neflorida.com and your email address. So if folks want to connect with you, that way they can. So hopefully you all found this to be helpful tonight. If you did, in the comments, let us know. Give us some hearts or thumbs up or something to let us know that this was encouraging and inspiring and informational, educational. Tag a friend that you think would benefit from this conversation. We want to keep this conversation going. Encourage you to, I took a few notes. Stay motivated, meet with a trainer or nutritionist, also utilize some of those free apps, Fitness Pal, and I think Micro app was another app that was mentioned. And then meal prepping, checking your portion sizes, checking your serving sizes. So a lot of nuggets here today, and also setting smart goals, goals that are specific, that are measurable, that are achievable, that are reasonable, and that are timely. That are timely.
Right. Yes, all good points. All good. And I mean, I'm just excited, guys. You might start something tomorrow, next week, whenever you decide to start, and find your next passion.
That's it. That's it. Find what works for you. Find what gets you motivated. What's your thing? Whether that's a marathon or again some of the goals that you all put in the chat. Keep those goals in mind and work towards them. And we are encouraging you and would love to hear how you coming along with those. If that's something that you are setting forth for the remainder of the year or something that you're doing next year, like Natasha, she's working on another competition for next year. let us know. Report back and let us know so we can celebrate that with you.
Yes, for
Yes,
sure.
yes, yes, yes. So, for those of you who are new to the platform, please subscribe to Conversations with Nicole on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and let's keep the conversation going. We're live here on Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Monday is Mindset Monday. Wednesday is Wellness Wednesday, and also we are in season 11 of our regular Conversations with Nicole show, and those come out on Fridays at 7 a.m. on YouTube and on Greater Works Network on Roku TV. So check us out. We always have something going on, some guest or something happening. Our guest on Wednesday is the Tallahassee Community Healing Days Coalition. We have 4 members from that coalition coming up. We'll be talking about community healing. Community Days is this weekend. I will be moderating some of those discussions throughout the weekend on Friday. And on Sunday, I'll get some of that information up on social media. So if you're not busy on Friday evening and on Sunday, you should definitely come out to Community Healing Days and find out what that's all about. Natasha, this was fabulous. Okay,
Thank
you hear me? Fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing your story, for the encouragement, for all that you are doing, throughout the state. Let me ask you. So you are licensed in Florida, right?
you. In Georgia, yes.
Okay, licensed in Florida and Georgia. So there's some Georgia folks on here. Listen up, which means that you can see people that are in Florida and Georgia.
Yes,
They don't have to be in your area.
correct.
So, are you taking any new clients now?
I am taking new clients, so please
Okay.
reach out.
Do you take insurance?
I do. We take United, Oxford, Oscar, Aetna, and Cigna.
Okay, very good, very good. So, if you have any of those carriers, check it out. She is a provider, so that may be something that you want to look into. I'm always encouraging folks to get their checkup from the neck up and connect with a clinician today. So, Natasha is available and seeing new clients, new patients. So definitely check her out. Again, the website is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And yeah, again, let's keep this conversation going. So, you all have a great rest of the evening. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time on Conversations with Nicole. Bye.
Bye, everybody.